Move on to back to the political issues. And does Mr. Potofi and the NDC not realize that blah 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 blah? He's still opposed, right? You raised this very issue, and I think that many of the advocates of the opposition are also raising the subject.
It's not just. I have heard very senior members of the NDC
also
raising why, yes. Even though not
in
public.
caucus,
of course. But you see,
in caucus, one they didn't make it public is not public.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's a worrying situation, and I expect, knowing Mr. Potofi, I know him too well, and I know that he would appreciate the English saying, "To let go is gentlemanly."
Has he said he will not let go?
And I've heard the argument that he was appointed when he was vice chairman of the NDC. To be honest with you, I didn't know Mr. Potofi was the vice chairman of the NDC before his election, before the contest began. I didn't know. And these are positions that are in the, if you like,
in the quiet.
Not much known or discussed. An NDC structure, the vice chairpersons, you have about 5 or 6 of them.
Actually,
okay?
All the parties.
But bringing it up today, I think that if I knew that he was vice chairman at the time he was appointed, the argument I'm making today, I would still have made it. We have restricted the political space to too few people in this country. When we say winner takes all, we think it is only about a party in government and the opposition. Within the ruling party, power is restricted to a few people.
So you're fighting for the other people? Is that what you're
It's not the other people, please. I'm fighting for the right thing to be done in this country. We are sick and tired of NPP did it yesterday, so NDC must justifiably do it, and we continue doing the same wrong thing, and we expect to get any different results.
Let me ask you a question. If somebody from another party,
yes,
not necessarily from the NPP,
yes,
or the NDC, was
yes,
appointed to that very position, and that person was still holding a party position, would you have very same argument?
Of course, yes. Principle is principle. I think.
More than
look, he has a certain responsibility to a position in a political party. As a result of that, he doesn't need to
not just holding on to that, not just holding that position, but in the service of this position as NADMO boss, there is a possibility that conflict of interest would arise. Abuse of office would arise. We are human beings, for Christ's sake.
Governor.
We are human beings, and if there are temptations, that's what law is there, to restrict us from falling into temptations. So why do we encourage?
You are saying that if you were there, you could have been tempted.
Of course.
Okay.
Roland.
I'm not an angel.
We all agree. There's no law. There's no law barring him to hold on to his previous position as coordinator for NADMO and now chairman of NDC.
So why the argument?
Wait a minute. The argument is moral, not law. It's moral. I'm happy when my brother says that we are in a country where the winner takes all syndrome must be fought, because that is what is eating us. The point is that look at the rate of unemployment. Young graduates who have come out from school with masters and all that, more than qualified to hold such positions. We allow them to be loitering about.
You're saying the old people
and yet someone said that, no, I'm not saying he's not qualified. He is. But the point I'm making is that you sit there as a national chairman of a party, and at the same time, you are the national coordinator for NADMO. 2 positions. We have 12 hours to work in a day, from maybe 7 to 5 p.m. in the evening. You have. You're supposed to be at the party office. You're supposed to also be at NADMO. You one person. Let's question the efficiency.
They argue that he is
position. He himself, before he became the national chairman, what did he say about his deputy? Anita Jusoso. He himself. He said Anita was abusing the office. Anita only goes to take money but doesn't come to work. And Anita was a women organizer of NDC. He himself said.
But he was a boss. So he has oversight responsibility.
The point is that the argument he was making, Anita was not availing herself to the work of
let me ask you
the work of NADMO.
When he was occupying that position as vice chairperson of the NDC,
sure,
and then simultaneously occupying the position of NADMO boss,
Mm-hmm.
did you at any point in time seem to question his ability and competency to the job?
Did you listen? Did you listen to Kobna?
He said he
Kobna
didn't
said
know.
that he didn't know because
Now
some
he
positions.
knows.
Wait a minute.
But that's not an argument. The fact that
it's
you
not an
know or
argument.
didn't know is not an argument.
No,
The point is about
Roland,
efficiency. Was he
this point.
efficient as NADMO boss or not?
Roland,
Roland,
let's make this point clear. Many people
I'm
like
only
Kobna
playing the
here.
devil's advocate.
I understand. Many people
But
like
you are
Kobna.
asking
Kobna
asking
just-
from the wrong premise.
Kobna-
Nobody is discussing
Absolutely.
Mr. Potofe's competence.
No, we are not discussing that.
Who
We
is
are saying
discussing
that.
his competence
Listen,
and expertise? Nobody.
Kobna.
We are talking about a conflict.
Let him conclude, then you can also.
The point we're making here is so simple. If you were the vice chairman and still the NADMO coordinator, we have no problem with that. But we are saying that,
Morally.
yes, indeed, morally, it's not proper. And the time that you need to do this, simultaneously will be very problematic and very difficult for you. You cannot do that. Therefore, just do the gentleman thing and let one go. Then we move on.
Would you argue that positions such as these, when political parties tend to take office, they should leave them to people who are politically neutral? So that the next time this very argument you're raising is not raised by somebody else?
Yes, I believe that to build institutions, we have got to build them on a premise of genuineness and fairness. And it is not too much to ask of this present regime, knowing what the NDC said in their own social contract with the people of this country in the 2008 manifesto. Okay? The first 100 days, what President Mills and the NDC promised they were going to do include review and reconstitute the membership of commissions and boards solely on the basis of expertise and competence. Now, this is where my emphasis is. Eschewing all partisan and familial considerations. Mr. Potofie himself has told us, Anita D'Souza, and in this matter, it's not only Mr. Potofie I'm talking about. Anita D'Souza is also the deputy coordinator of NADMO,
Sure.
and is currently a vice chairman of the NDC, isn't it so?
Vice chairperson.
Yes. Mr. Potofie tells us that Anita's appointment as deputy coordinator to NADMO was merely based on her partisan connections.
But no competency.
Not on the basis of expertise or competence, because she's unable to do any work there as required by the organization. He told us. But of course, he didn't appoint his deputy. It is the appointing authority that appointed him that appointed his deputies as well. So he couldn't fire her. Okay? Now it's only fair to say that we are not discussing your competence. And for me, we are told in some arguments that Mr. Potofie's job as chairman of the party is not as rigorous or demanding as that of the general secretary. But let me give you a simple scenario where I still say that he ought not to be there. This man is NDC, assuming, without admitting. I'm sure.
And I will never be.
He's NDC. I am CPP.
I'm MPP. Just
You are Mr. Potofie.
MPP.
You
That's
are
all.
Mr. Potofie. No, I'm giving a scenario that is real.
Sure.
You are Mr. Potofie. We all have the same qualification. We make an application to NADMO, and you have got to sit on it and decide. Tell me, naturally, I have no advantage over him. He has no advantage over me. We are at pass. What would you do? Who would you pick?
You mean in the context of what
I
been
have
happening?
just discussed.
What has been happening? I'll pick the NDC.
It's not what has been happening. I'm asking you, Roland, as a person, Mr. Kofi Potofie. You are chairman of NDC.
I'll pick the most competent.
Sure.
I said our competency is at par. We are equal. We are the same. Nobody's advantage or disadvantage.
There's
the other.
nothing beyond interest.
He has a certain
nothing
quality.
beyond interest.
He
Truth
has
is that
a quality.
the answer.
You see, so really,
nepotism is what he's trying to say.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We
So
are
I
saying that an institution like that, if we want to build it and make it strong, we got to eschew some of these things, especially so when the NDC itself signed that social contract with the people of this country, even though they never lived up to their first 100 days promises. We are in the 7th year.
Roland, if it wasn't good yesterday, it shouldn't be good today. This argument that MPP did this, MPP did that. why in the first place did Ghanaians boot out MPP and then brought in NDC?
So you're saying
because
when
you
MPP
told
comes,
them,
they'll not do it?
You see,
You're saying if the next MPP government comes,
sure,
to not be
we are going to base on competency and expertise. We've seen, look, Kwabena Bamfe's paper asks and tells us completely that yes, the problems and the woes of Ghanaians today is based on most of the incompetence of most of the appointees of the president, and that's a fact. You understand? So we in a position today, watching what is happening and seeing it clearly, we will never, and Ghanaians will not even forgive us to come and repeat same, because you would have to get better people to handle the affairs of this country, and that is what we are saying. If yesterday you think we didn't get it right, today we are well placed to do it right, and we promising that inshallah, if we are given the mandate, we are going to do what is right and get expertise, to work, is rather than incompetency.
Well, I just wanted, because I hinted, I think what happened here last Saturday, Roland, is a sad situation, was a big disappointment to the various, huge listenership and viewers of multi-media's, flagship program, Newsfile. And I believe that what happened could have been avoided. It could have been avoided if the production team had been a bit more professional than what happened.
What do you mean by they were not professional?
I said had been a bit more, please don't use words that I haven't used. I said had been a bit more professional than what happened.
Okay, they were professional, but not a lot more.
Listen, I got the invitation to this show yesterday. Okay? Because it's a paper review, you really don't care who you are coming to debate.
And what you're going to discuss.
We are all coming to see the issues here. And if you are ready to discuss them we have chosen to, you discuss them.
Very well.
If you don't want to discuss an issue, you walk away. Newsfile is not like that.
It's planned way ahead.
You plan way ahead, at least 3 days before. You tell the panelists who their co-panelists are. In this instance, and I don't know why, Joy, you started a new style. The previous week, you did an all-women show. True or false? I don't know whether it was dubbed women organizers, but I saw a mixture, a blend. Some were women organizers, some were not. In this instance, you named the show General Secretary's News File. It was not just the reform issue that was to be discussed. I have a list. There were 5 other issues. 4 other issues, making 5.
You are privy to those?
Yes, I have seen them. You send a mail out, at least, and we know really the other topics that you were to discuss. And you told each general secretary, it is general secretaries who were coming. Now we are getting to know. I said in Ketia had not agreed to show up. Yet, even as at Friday night, the information that the other general secretaries had was that they were going to meet their colleague general secretaries. What we know today is that it was not even deputies of Asedun Ketia, any of the deputies of Asedun Ketia, who was going to show up, but rather a former general secretary who is our national organizer, Kofi Adams, who was the one going to debate them. People have conveniently said that, well, they could have gone ahead to make their points, and your colleague, your co-host was making that argument, that why? They didn't need Asedun Ketia to make their points known. It is true. The discussion on Saturday was not going to be an overall of what parties had presented to the Electoral Commission on the basis of reforms. It was going to be limited. But I end by saying that next time you are inviting people, let's be clear. And this discussion should not continue.
Well,
beyond.
I have a very short submission on this matter. In principle, I support what the general secretaries did last Saturday. Why? Placing my argument on what Kwabena Bamfe said. If you are inviting strictly general secretaries and they come only to meet someone who is not supposed to be a general secretary, and reasons given to them is not that cogent to convince them, they have a principle to say no. 2, there's a matter or a subject matter which they were going to discuss, electoral reforms. Very important And of course, all of us as a political party are key stakeholders in the election enterprise in this country. Now you come to sit there, what the public is expecting you as a flagship program, like you rightly mentioned, and the way it managed news file travels and sells. You see, both civil service organizations talk of other stakeholders in our electoral system in this country, of course, pay heed to some of these programs. And they expect some amount of commitment coming from all representatives. That's what they would have expected. Now, if one is not there, it's not to say that you cannot state your position in the absence.
But Kofi Adams, wasn't he competent to argue with it?
He was. But consensus building. You see, something coming from your chief scribe holds much water. We don't want you tomorrow to come and issue a statement and say that what Kofi Adams said, yes, indeed, he was supposed to NDC, but then I wasn't there.
So you wanted it from the horse's own mouth?
Absolutely. Consensus building is very important.
Right.
What I gather is that the general secretaries felt, if you like, baited here and then giving a different
all right, so that'll be it for now. And my guest for the morning, Kwabena Bonfe of the CPP, been with me, and a delight always to have him in the studio, and the National Nasarawa Coordinator of the NPP as well, Kamaldeen Abdullahi, my other guest.
So thanks for disturbing me a lot on set. I decided to ignore you.
All right, so we're taking a break. When we come back, we're discussing electoral reforms, and it is going to be a delight to watch.